were the pilots of the US-15 Air Force flying out of Italy. One word meant the difference between life and watery grey: VIS. To the German Wehrmacht, it was a thorn in the side of their Adriatic wall. But to the Allies, this tiny speck of rock was the most strategic secret in the Southern Europe. Today we are exploring the island fortress that never fell. Okay, sneak down there. This wasn't the first time the war fought over this ground. From the Illyrians, Greeks and Romans, to the Byzantines, Venetians and the Austro-Hungarians, right through the Cold War, VIS has always been the key to the Adriatic. Situated 56 kilometers from Split, it sits 44 kilometers from the mainland and 80 kilometers from its nearest neighbor, the island of Hvar. Its isolation was its strength. But VIS is more than a fortress. It is an island of ancient winemaking and deep-sea fishing, anchored by two main towns, VIS on the northeast and Commando in its deep western bay. But beauty masked a brutal reality. In 1941, fascist Italy occupied the island, subjecting locals to a harsh regime of Italianization. Tension reached a breaking point at the end of August 1943. Just days before Italy's capitulation, Italian forces committed horrific war crimes, executing civilians in both Commando and VIS, a final desperate act of violence that left deep scars on the island's soul. When Italy collapsed on September 8, a frantic power vacuum opened. The Wehrmacht moved with lightning speed, launching a massive offensive to seize the Dalmatian coast. One by one, the islands fell: Korčula, Brač, Hvar, all swallowed by the German advance. The partisans, outgunned but determined, were forced into fighting retreat toward the only piece of land left. The key to the Adriatic was now a fortress under siege. The Germans were closing in, but they underestimated one thing. The British Royal Navy and the Commandos were already over the horizon. On October 17, 1943, three torpedo boats from the British 14th Flotilla roared into VIS harbor. They were the scouts for a massive international hive of special operations. By January, the first 151 troops of No. 2 Commando arrived under the Force 133. By March, this evolved into Force 266, a joint task force including a unit American viewers will recognize, the US Operational Groups, the elite and centers of today's special forces. By mid-February, 576 elite troops were on the ground. By March, the 2nd Special Service Brigade arrived, commanded by Brigadier Tom Churchill, brother of legendary Mad Jack Churchill. By May, his force swelled to over 2,000 Allied troops. The Germans weren't just watching, they were planning. Berlin drew up Operation Freischütz, a knockout blow using 4 infantry battalions, elite Brandenburg special forces disguised as partisans, and 500 paratroopers. But as spring arrived, German commanders hesitated. Facing British destroyers, elite commandos, and Allied air superiority, they realized an assault would be a bloodbath. In April 1944, Adolf Hitler himself officially cancelled the operation. The Germans had blinked. This became a launchpad for chaos. Every night, British and American commandos and Yugoslav Partisans launched hit-and-run stings, keeping German garrisons in constant terror. But as the island became a war machine, it grew too dangerous for the vulnerable. This led to a remarkable humanitarian exodus, Shatt. Nearly 30,000 Dalmatian refugees were evacuated to the Sinai Desert in Egypt. There, they built a CROATIA in the sand, waiting for the day their islands would be free. With civilians safe and commandos raiding the coast, VIS turned its focus to the sky. Through the grueling work of American and British engineers and local partisans, a dusty airstrip was carved into the island's center. On May 1, 1944, the first Royal Air Force fighter touched down. To the heavy bomber crews of the US 15th Air Force, this was a miracle. The strip at Pole was only 1,000 meters long, dangerously short for a 4-engine bomber, but it was 1,000 meters of hope. It's estimated that over 215 heavy bombers, B-70s, Flying Fortresses, and B-24s, Liberators, limped onto this island. Because this strip existed, over 4,000 Allied airmen avoided prisoner of war camp or watery grave.
So the only thing that is left from the airfield are those pillars. You have them there, you have them on the other side. But you can still find artifacts from that time. And you can still find packages like this, and you have something is written here and the year is written here. This one is well preserved. M96, and the year is 1940 something. Can't read that well. Perforated steel plank. See the barbed wire. And what is this? Look, I don't know what's this. I forgot what those pillars around the airfield represent, and with the year of 1944,
But VIS was more than a hospital for bombers. It was the literal brain of the Yugoslav Revolution. In June 1944, after narrowly escaping a German airborne assault in Drvar by the same paratroopers that were planning the invasion on VIS, Josip Broz Tito was evacuated to the island by the British Royal Navy. From a humid limestone cave high on Mount Hum, Tito established his supreme headquarters. From this rock, the partisans orchestrated the final liberation. Using VIS as a massive supply depot and command hub, they launched the Dalmatian operation. This surge of resistance moved like a tide from islands to the mainland, liberating Split, Šibenik, Zadar. The momentum that started on this unsinkable aircraft carrier didn't stop until the Yugoslav Fourth Army reached the gates of Trieste in May 1945. This is a rare place where the savage enterprise of war and the spirit of human cooperation met. It was a place where British Commandos, US Special Operators, American pilots, and Yugoslav Partisans stood together on the last line of defense. Today the bunkers are empty, and the runway is a vineyard once more. But the key to the Adriatic remains a monument to those who refuse to let the light go out in Southern Europe. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more of the hidden history and the relics left behind in these hills, don't forget to like and subscribe.